Welcome to English Pronunciation Essentials with Abimbola Oshodi. For many non-native speakers of English language, they would rather keep quiet instead of saying what they really would love to say, especially because they are scared of mispronouncing some words or many words, as the case may be. And this means that they are unable to always say the things they desire or to share their experiences, especially where such would be highly valued. And this happens in day to day conversations or even at work with colleagues. It could even be as simple as going to the gym and telling the person close to you to help you with something or another. So this is not just about, maybe it's in official environments. It is also an issue that non-native speakers of English language face in other instances that surround their lives. I'm Abimbola Oshodi, the speech rebrander. I am the founder of the Eloquent Elite community, where I help excellent conscious professionals, personal brands, and workpreneurs become more confident, fluent, and proficient with the use of English language. And like I love to say, I help you find English language as easy as breathing. And that is why you're going through this course, English Pronunciation Essentials. This course deals with the most common pronunciation issues that are faced by non-native speakers of English language. This is not a full course on pronunciation, but it is meant to guide you into how to pronounce words correctly and how to be able to express yourself more confidently wherever you find yourself on this planet and even in the metaverse. So let's get right into it. Now, if you are going to say anything correctly in English language or in any language, or if you're going to correct anything that you think is wrong, then you need to know exactly where the issue is. And that's why the very first thing we'll talk about in this course is why people mispronounce English words, or let me say, why you mispronounce English words. Because if you go to the hospital and then you tell the doctor, I think I have malaria, the doctor wouldn't just say, yes, it's malaria we are treating. No, the doctor would ask you questions, would probe into the situation to know exactly what solution to advise you on. And that is why we need to know why you tend to mispronounce English words. And the second thing is the 8-step approach to better pronunciation. So now we know why people mispronounce English words or why you mispronounce English words. We won't stop there, right? You don't go to the doctor and after the examination or the diagnosis and the doctor says, go home. No, he wouldn't say that or she wouldn't say that. What you'd get to hear is, okay, this is what we are doing next. This is the way forward to take away the pains you're feeling, right? To help you know how to get over the stress you think you are feeling. So you don't just get the diagnosis, you also get the treatment or what the course of the treatment will be. Then the third one is digraph TH in focus. Now, in English language or in languages general, a couple of languages that I've known, there are digraphs in such words, well, in such languages. For English language, there are several digraphs, and one of them is digraph TH. Digraph TH is the commonly most mispronounced digraph in English language. And that's because many non-native speakers of English language don't have the sounds that this digraph gives in words. The number 4, we look at silent letters. Well, as the name implies, silent letters are silent letters. All right, I wouldn't give you such definition in any way. When we get to that part, you get to know what silent letters are, right? Then finally, we have the schwa sound. Most likely, if you've been involved in phonetics of English language, you might have heard about the schwa sound. And let's get into what the schwa sound is by the time we get to this part. I believe you're excited to get into this. If you are, I am more than excited. So, the factors influencing wrong pronunciation of English words And the very first one here is the tricky nature of English language. As you can see the word the, if you would try to pronounce this word by saying each letter, making each letter represent a sound, you would definitely not pronounce the. What you would say would be more like te, te. I don't even know how to say it. Now, tricky might still go scot-free to an extent. Now, let's try nature. If we try to, for most languages that I have come across, or for many non-native speakers of the English language, especially in Africa, I live in Nigeria, I've been in Nigeria all my life, and our local languages are phonic in nature, meaning you can translate letters to sounds, and it's not something that is difficult. You can just see a letter and know the sound it would give in most cases. English language is not that way. Look at the word nature. If I would say, oh, nature has 6 letters, and so I'm going to make sure all the 6 letters, each of them is individually represented here, I would say naturi or nature or naturi. Can you see? Or naturi, because A on its own has at least 8 sounds, depending on the letters around it. So when do you know when to use which of the sounds? That's why it's not that straightforward to know how to pronounce English words just by looking at their letters. Then another thing is there are quite a number of languages that words are being brought to, that words are got from to get into the English language. Now, American English would say gotten, British English, it got. So because of these word borrowings, many of them retain their actual pronunciation in the original languages. And so a word like chef, the CH would not give the sound ch, it is sh. So if you try to pronounce that word in English language with the English, your understanding of the English speech sounds for English words, you would say chef, but you would be wrong. Because in that word, the CH, the word is of a French origin and the CH is sh, not ch. Then we have the issue of silent letters and a couple of others, stress pattern, so many things could make you mispronounce a word the wrong way just by looking at the English language itself. Number 2 reason that people mispronounce words in English language is the environment. So you will be mispronouncing words that are commonly mispronounced in your immediate environment. Now, this environment might even be your physical location or online. It could be on social media or mainstream media, on TV, radios, radio shows, and, here, there, and everywhere. You have your neighbors, your colleagues at work, people at the gym, maybe even your employees, like your friends, your family, everyone around you. If you live amongst people who do not consciously pronounce English words correctly, you'd most likely mispronounce words like them, or the words that they mispronounce frequently. And if you're living in an environment where it's not an English speaking environment predominantly, definitely you would be mispronouncing a whole lot of words. So your environment has a huge impact on whether or not you do a number of things right. Then finally, the reason you would be mispronouncing so many words or doing things the wrong way is you, and then the choices you make. Now, you don't have full control or even any control over the first 2. You might have some sort of control over the second one, which is your environment. You could change where you live, you could change what you watch, you could focus, you could be more careful about the people you listen to. But even at that, it's not 100%. There's no 100% guarantee that you would be able to completely change things around you. But when it comes to you and your choices, there's another environment that you could completely change. You could make to be exactly what you want it to be. and that is your mental environment, your internal environment. So you and your choices, that's the only factor that you would be able, I mean, those are the only factors that you'd be able to completely control. Now, to take time, but it is possible. So if you choose to say, I am not going to be like everyone around me or almost everyone around me who mispronounces English words, I am going to make sure I pronounce my TH correctly. I'm going to make sure I say my schwa sounds correctly in words. I'm going to make sure I take note of silent letters in words and avoid pronouncing them when I say my words. Over time, you would see that you get better because you consciously practice. So when you create that environment for yourself within you, it changes everything. Now, I'm really going ahead of myself because we are only looking at the factors influencing wrong pronunciation of English words. Now, let's get to how you can get to pronounce English words correctly. So working your way up the pronunciation ladder, how do you get to do that? Here is how. So look at the 8-step approach to better pronunciation. And the very first one here is that you have to be clear on why you want to improve your pronunciation. Now, for many people, they just say, oh, I want to become a billionaire in dollars, in US dollars, or in pounds. And then they have no serious reason. And so there is nothing to really push them to achieve that goal. But if you are saying, I want to become a billionaire in dollars because I want to be the first to build a whole, let's say a whole city for orphans, right? You mean you're building a whole city for orphans whereby there is access to all that they could ever need. That means you have a strong reason. Now it might seem unachievable, it might seem unrealistic, but you have a strong reason, a strong why driving you. When you're clear on that why, it makes it easier for you to start thinking of how, because without why, trying to get how would not make sense or might not really be encouraging. There might be no kind of motivation for you. And the what, yes, you can have the what, which is you improving your pronunciation, but why do you want to do it? So about 3 years ago, this is 2021 that I'm recording this. 3 years ago, that was 2018, I used to speak really fast. I mean, since I could speak till 3 years ago. And I was wondering why people said they couldn't understand me most of the time. To me, I was like, but you guys watch American movies, you watch British movies, you understand these soap operas. So why should it be that I, being a Nigerian, you're saying you can't understand what I'm saying? Like, how possible is that? Then when I went for a training, I realized that, oh, it's because I was speaking too fast. And on discovering that, what I would be doing for a greater part of my life is to help people find their voices and live the kind of life they deserve and desire by me speaking and helping them do that. I knew I had to change. Was it easy? No. But that singular factor propelled me to change. And I began that journey. I'm still on that journey because there are times I get to a point, maybe when my emotions are heightened, I speak so fast and very quickly, but it's way better. It's way better. When I was recording my first audio course, my first course ever, and that was in 2020 during the lockdown, the pronunciation toolkit. It wasn't so much of an issue because I knew that, okay, I had worked on me being audible enough for people to understand what I'm saying, being clear, being audible, and being slow enough. So that way, the why propelled the what. Now there's the what, but there are also other what's to do. Because what price are you willing to pay to go for the price you want to achieve or obtain. Now, when you've decided and you're clear on what you want to, why you want to improve your pronunciation, because the what is improving your pronunciation, then you need to identify your struggle points, and not just that. You have to work on them. My struggle point back then was that I was always trying to speak at the rate which my mind brought about thoughts. And you know that would be quite insane. It means I let people just gasping for breath whenever I spoke, not for a good reason anyway, because they just couldn't catch up with me. So when I realized that was the issue, I was able to now decide that, okay, I'm going to hold on a bit. I know that I've processed this thought, but I'm going to hold on and allow my mouth to say the things I need to say at a pace that people will be able to understand me, not with the speed that the thoughts in my head just come and pop, 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 pop. When I identified my struggle point, it was easy for me to decide to work on them. But I didn't just identify my struggle points. I worked on that struggle point. And the next thing is, now, when it comes to pronunciation of English language, pronunciation of English words rather, you can't say any word correctly in any language if you're not saying the sound of that language correctly. I mean, the speech sounds. So you have to learn the right pronunciation of the speech sounds of English language. And that's why I would strongly recommend that you get a pronunciation toolkit, because in there, I spoke more extensively on the English speech sounds. I gave examples, word examples, and word examples for you to be able to know when the sound appears in so and so words and things like that. So I strongly recommend you get the pronunciation toolkit. Then you have to practice. Many people, what they do is they learn, but what they don't realize is that it's not about taking in information. It's about allowing the information also to be seen or to come out. And that's where practice takes place. That's where practice comes in. You have to practice. If you don't practice, it's almost as good as you've learned nothing, because it's only by practicing that it gets to become a part of you, and over time you become better at it. And I said practice with someone else. Practice speaking English with someone else, because you have to speak the language if you want to master pronunciation in the language. This might not be easy to come by, right? Because there might not be people around you who are speaking English correctly. One of the things you might want to do would be to record videos or audios of yourself pronouncing those words that you're learning to pronounce correctly, saying the sounds correctly, and saying the words, using them in sentences, right? Then, this part, I love the whole lot. You have to fall in love with your voice. Many people don't love to hear their voices. Maybe they think, oh, my voice is terrible. I don't like the sound of my voice. Many people have different reasons for not wanting to listen to their voices. For someone like me, I should actually not want to hear my voice. I should actually feel like, oh, my voice is so terrible. Because there was a time in my life that people would call me and say, hello, this is sir or a ma'am. It was that serious. People couldn't tell if I was a male or a female, right? But really, it wasn't a big deal. It's just that they couldn't tell. And that means my voice is so unique. Now, over the years, people know it's a female that is speaking, right? And there was a time a person I looked up to as a mentor told me I had a duck's voice. And that was when I was just starting out. So you can imagine if I had listened to that, I would just keep quiet and say nothing and not want people to hear my voice and just keep quiet. So you need to fall in love with your voice. It's your voice. It's yours. It's uniquely given to you. So fall in love with it and enjoy listening to your voice. If you don't like listening to your voice, you might want to start. Give it a try. Record 30-second voice note, or do a voice recording, an audio recording, and say beautiful about yourself for 30 seconds. Beautiful things about yourself for 30 seconds. listen to it. Listen to it. At first, try to listen to it as though it was somebody else telling you those things. But over time, start listening to yourself, telling yourself that with time, you'd get to love your voice. Then the next one is that you need to use the delete button. Let me explain what I mean by that. Whenever you try to do anything new or anything that is not the norm around with people around you, seeing you do such things or such a thing, they might be uncomfortable. And many people would try, some of them would try to talk you out of doing those things, especially because they feel that you are beginning to make them want to either do better or you're making them feel intimidated. Now, this is your life. No one else can live your life for you like you would. And no one else will feel good for doing the things you should do like you would. No one else would feel terrible when you can't achieve your goals like you would. So I'm not saying you should completely cut off from people because they're not encouraging you in your quest for, a better version of you, but I'm saying you want to reduce your interaction with them. Now, there are people you can't completely reduce interactions with physically, but to an extent you might be able to, you will be able to do so mentally. So there are people you have to let them know, well, this is what I plan to do right now, and I want to get better at it. And I'd really appreciate if you could encourage me or if you could support me. Now, if you can't support me, I wouldn't want you discouraging me. Now, there are people that you really need to get out of your life because in the first place, they were not even adding anything of value to you, right? But on the other hand, there are people that you just can't completely use that approach with, and all you can do would be to now find a kind of, well, I say demarcation between you and them, but it's in your mind. Everything is just in your mind. And at the end of the day, it will be for your own good because you'll be able to achieve your goals. You'll be able to get the things you desire and you'd be proud of yourself for it. Then the next one, if you are not a kind of person who has been valuing yourself before now, this would be difficult. Now, value yourself to know that you are worth listening to. Value yourself to know that you are worth doing the things you need to do. Value yourself enough to know that when people are not supporting you, when they want to pull you back, you can let them know that you know what you stand for. That's why you're an adult. You are an adult. You can choose the things you need to choose and stay with your choices. So value yourself. Practice the things you need to do. Don't be shy. Don't feel ashamed of practicing and working on your goals. In this case, on getting better with pronunciation. Then finally, you've got to be patient with yourself. The reason many people never achieve their aims is not because those aims or those goals are too high to achieve. It's often because they get somewhere along the line and then they feel like this is insurmountable, or they feel like I'm not making any progress. I'm not making progress. Why should I go on? But what they don't realize is that they've moved away from where they were. Yes, they might not see the outcome as they want to see it, but they are no longer who they used to be. But at the end of the day, by the time they quit, they now make their negative thoughts become self-fulfilling prophecies because they weren't patient with themselves. So let's say now when I decided to start speaking a little bit slower, I was way above 20. And that means for more than 2 decades of my life, I had been speaking really fast. I wasn't expecting myself to get better with the speed of the way I spoke. I wasn't expecting myself to get better in just 3 months. I was willing to give it time. And so when I didn't see the changes immediately, or maybe in about a month or two, like I would have loved to see it, I didn't give up. So don't just expect that, oh, once I get on this journey, everything will be fine, everything will just go smoothly. No, give yourself that time to grow. Be patient with yourself. And over time, you discover that you can really achieve what you mean to achieve. So now that we've spoken about these, I really believe that you could not, you don't, you can actually apply this to other areas of your life. You really can, not just about pronunciation only. Next, the English speech sounds. Like I mentioned, this was discussed in depth, in depthly, or in depth, in details in the pronunciation toolkit. We have 44 English speech sounds. And if you add the triphthongs, we have 49 of them. If you can't say, if you find it difficult to pronounce just one of these speech sounds correctly, what it means is that even if you can pronounce every other correctly, as long as the sound that you are unable to pronounce correctly occurs in any word, you would be mispronouncing that word as a whole. So this is not to make you feel, oh, it means I'll keep mispronouncing words for the rest of my life. Definitely. There are words that you even still mispronounce in your own mother tongue. Yes, there are words like that. But the idea is for you to know that. And actually, there are English speech sounds that are in your mother tongue, so you don't need to start learning them. For example, I believe almost every language has B. Almost every language has B. Almost every language has S. So you don't need to start learning to pronounce those ones. Just the ones that you have difficulty pronouncing, especially because they are not in your own mother tongue or first language. Then the English speech sounds are divided into consonants and vowels. Only the English speech sounds are the basis for pronunciation, not the letters. And that's why many people get it wrong. Remember how we made the example with nature the other time. If you should try to make use of the letters as means of pronunciation, you would just mispronounce so many English words. And for so many English words, the letters aren't to be relied upon for pronunciation. Then, like I already said, they are non-reliant on the letters. Pronunciation of English words have to be based on the letters. So let's get to where we start making use of what you are learning. TH in focus. As you can see, this lovely lady is smiling, and the smile is so bright. And what you can first notice, that I believe you'd first notice, is her teeth. For you to say TH correctly in words, you need to make use of your teeth. And to be precise, the front part of your teeth, the upper and the lower part. The TH sounds are called dental sounds because you must use your teeth in the pronunciation of the words that have them. If you're going to pronounce TH correctly in words, for most English words, you must make use of the front part of your teeth, lower part of your teeth, and then allow the air escape gradually. I have a video on this to help you with the right pronunciation of English words, and you would be getting that video later. I'll let you know how you can get access to it. So here we have the first one. As you can see on this part, there is this bulb, and yes, you can guess this is about thinking. For many people, because they don't have, that's the sound. They don't have in their mother tongue, they tend to replace with t. And what that means is that instead of saying a word as thin, they would say tin, and they're saying something else entirely. Once you mispronounce a word, you are going to be saying something else entirely. So if you want to say, I am thin, and then you now say, I am tin. Are you telling us you're a tin or that your name is tin? All right. So to say this sound correctly, you need to place the tip of your tongue in between the upper and the lower part of the front part of your teeth, upper and lower teeth, and allow the air escape gradually. And for this voiceless sound, voiceless TH sound, you would say, and that's what you have in thin, mouth, nothing, cloth, teeth, path, anthem, thought, wealth, with. Now I'll be contrasting between t and tin, thin, mat, moth, noting, nothing, cloth, cloth, tit, teeth, part, path, ant, anthem, thought, thought, wet, wealth, with, with. If you would consciously place the tip of your tongue in between your upper and lower teeth and allow the air escape gradually, the front part of your upper and lower teeth, and allow the air escape gradually, and you say the sound without a vibration in your vocal cords, you'd say this voiceless TH sound correctly. Now, it's the same technique for the voiced TH sound. The difference is just that you need to cause a vibration. And you can see this beautiful looking feather here. The feather is beautiful, right? So you can say the, and that's what you have in feather, not feather. For many people, because they don't have the in their local language, I mean their mother tongue, when they pronounce words, they don't have that sound. They tend to replace that sound with d. So instead of saying feather, they would say feather. Instead of saying they would say they. And that is saying the word the wrong way. So we are contrasting d, words with d and the. And as you can see, it's d that gives the d sound. I mean, d gives the d sound, while th gives the sound in these words. Then, dot, that, order, other, border, bother, murder, mother, cloud, clothes, load, loathe, leader, leather, feeder, feather, doze, those. D and th are two different sounds. Even if you don't want to listen so closely, they are two different sounds. D, th. Remember, it's with practice that you get better. Now, this is the part where you practice what you've learned. I'll leave this on the screen for a couple of seconds, but definitely you could pause this video and then read this out loud. Put your focus on the words that have the TH in them. All right, I'll read the first one, then make sure when you're reading, you listen to how it sounds. The thief was threatened, but that didn't stop him from climbing the ladder to steal the donut, though. The thief was threatened, but that didn't stop him from climbing the ladder to steal the donut, though. So you'll notice the thief, threatened, that, the again, then though. So only thief and threatened have the voiceless TH sound in the first sentence. So read that sentence and the others and listen to yourself as you say the voiceless and voiced TH sounds. The TH sounds are called dental sounds because you need to make use of your teeth. Yes, definitely your tongue has to be in the equation. Then we go to the next part Remember, I said we'll be talking about the silent letters, and so we look at the silent letters. Now, you can see this lady trying to hush maybe a child. Like, shh. Silent letters are letters that appear in the spelling of a word, but they are not found in the pronunciation of such words. That's what silent letters are. So it means, yes, the word in the spelling, the letter is there, but when you pronounce it, do not allow the letter to come into the pronunciation. You are not having any sound representing that letter in the pronunciation if you say the word correctly. So we look at letters that can be silent in words. The first one is B. Letter B is silent whenever you have it in MB and BT. That is, if M comes before T, it's usually towards the end of a word, or B comes before T, the B would be silent. So if M comes before B or B comes before T, the B would be silent. So you have comb, climb, bum, tomb. So the word is tomb, not tom. Now, the bum, if you add ing, you'd say bombing, not bombing. If you add er, you'd say bomber, not bomber. Then you have plumber. If you remove the er, you still have plum, right? The plumber. Then debt, debtor, subtle, doubt. Comb, climb, bum, tomb, plumber, debt, debtor, subtle, doubt. Please take note that the fact that whenever you have, and this is for every other silent letter, the fact that whenever you have MB in a word or VT in a word, it means the B will always be silent. That's not so. And that's why I said usually when it's at the end, especially for MB. If you have the word combination, the B is not silent, right? If you have the word, okay, combination, the B is not silent. Well, in doubtful, definitely you're only adding a suffix, so the B would still be silent. But I don't want you to think, oh, whenever I have MB, the B will be silent, because combination, it's combined. Combined is a word on its own. Combined, you don't have the MB ending the word. It's a part of the word, the MB, so the B wouldn't be silent. All right, so we go on to C being silent in CQ and FC. Definitely, you already have the K in cool. So the C is silent. It's not giving any sound. So you have acquire and acquaintance, not acquaintance. Acquaintance. Science. Scissors. Muscle. This word is muscle, not muzzle. Yes, the S is the C is silent, but it doesn't change the S to the Z sound. It's muscle. Indict. The D is silent. The C rather is silent in indict. Indict. Now to the silent D in words. Wednesday. In Wednesday, the first D is silent, while the second E is silent. This word has just 2 syllables. So don't say Wednesday, just say Wednesday. Handsome, grandmother, handkerchief. The H is silent. Letter H is silent in these words. Honest, honor, air, hour, ghost, when, why, vehicle. So the word is not vehicle, it's vehicle, exhaust, and exhibit. The H is silent in these words. Then letter G. Letter G is silent when you have it before M, after N, and before N. So here you have G. In GM you have phlegm, paradigm, diaphragm. When you have NG in a word, especially at the end, you'll have the sound as So you wouldn't say ng. Now this is usually for British English, but usually I don't think you want to be saying ng whenever you're pronouncing words, right? So sing, not sing. Morning, not morning. And not morning. Morning. Then strong, sign, cologne, design, champagne, no, gnome, null. L is silent in these words: would, could, should, talk. So if you ask me, what about chalk? What about walk? Yes, the L is silent. Yolk, salmon, not salmon, that fish, salmon, half, folk. So the L is silent in these words. K is silent whenever it shows up in KN, that's before N. You have not, knock, knee, new, night, and need, to knead the dough. So the K is silent in these words. Well, I know you already know that. I just had to add it. Then N is silent in MN, autumn, solemn, condemn, hymn, column. Now remember the same thing I said about MB. So if you have solemnization, in that word, the N will not be silent in MN. If you have condemnation, the N will not be silent. If you have hymnal, the N will not be silent. If you have columnist, the N will not be silent. So sometimes there are even no rules to know when it wouldn't be silent, but at least when you listen often, you know when to say the right thing. Then W, it's silent in words that have WH sometimes, but which will always be silent whenever it comes before R. So whole, whore, whose, wrong, right, sword, answer, and to. So that word is not sword, it's sword. The W is silent. Letter P is silent when it comes before S, P, when it comes before S, T, or N, especially at the beginning of words. Now, sometimes for the PT, it would be at the end. Well, there's one word: psychology, psychiatry, pneumonia, pneumatic, pteridophyte, receipt, psalm, core, and coup. Then we have S being silent in isle, island, isle again. Now, these are two words. Isle with the A is that passage between two rows, usually rows of seats. Then the second isle without the A is the short form of island. So it's just like taking A and D away and replacing with E. So isle is the short form of island, the one without the A. Then, I mean, isle, I-S-L-E, the short form of island, I-S-L-A-N-D. Then debris, that word could be debris or debris, but the S is silent. Viscount, so the word is not even viscount, it's viscount, and the S is silent. Rendezvous, it's a French word. The S is silent. The S at the end is silent. So letter T, whenever you have S-T-L-E or S-T-E-N, the T will be silent. Whether there is, whether the word is appearing in a continuous form or it's in the past tense, the D will be silent. So listen, because the T is silent in listen, doesn't change the S to Z. So it's listen, not listen. Listen, hasten, whistle, not whistle. Whistle. The S is the T is silent, but the S is not changing to Z. Hustle, sachet, beret, rapport, soften and often. These two words you could say soften and often. That's why I use the asterisk. Then depot, okay, depot or depot in American English, and Christmas. The T is silent in Christmas. So we end the silent letters and then we go on to the schwa. Well, there are words that you have to be careful of the letters that you pronounce in them, right? Now, there's this sound called the schwa sound, and you have to be careful of how much force or pressure you put on the sound. The schwa sound is the weakest of the English speak sounds. It is the weakest. It means when you're pronouncing the sound, you don't need to put all of your energy because the sound is, all you need to say is just, the sound is that simple. It's just like saying, as though you are tired. That's the sound. So what form of energy, what level of energy would you need to say, you don't need to go, all you need to do is just go, uh, and that's it. So this sound appears in so many English words, and that means it gets mispronounced in so many English words because the average non-native speaker of English language wants to say the sound as though it is a sound that has to be pronounced with so much effort on it. And right here on the screen, the schwa sound can be heard if you pronounce the word the correctly. So the, not the or the. In this place, it is the. And the word is not to be pronounced as the, please. The, the, the schwa sound. So you have in that word, the. Now let's look at common words that have the schwa sound in them. And banana is my favorite fruit for now. As at the time of this recording, banana had been my favorite fruit for like a year or two, right? So we have banana. Now, when I'm done with the pronunciation of these words, we look at the tips and then come back and let's see if you can find out the words that have the schwa sound in them. Banana, banana, miracle, miracle, special, special, jealous, jealous, lotion, lotion, thorough, thorough, feel, feel, abandon, abandon, razor, razor. So let's look at the tips on how to identify the schwa in words. Now the schwa can only be found in unstressed syllable. I'm not teaching syllable here, but let's quickly look at it. In the word nature, nature, when you pronounce nature, and if we try to hum it, you can tell the syllable that is pronounced with more emphasis. Nature. The nay is more pronounced. That is the stressed syllable. In the word government, government, if you try to hum it, you'd say So the g takes the stress. That is the stressed syllable. It takes the emphasis. So often, due to its nature, the schwa might seem to be unheard in words. For example, in spoken, it's almost as if I'm not saying anything between k and n, but the schwa is there. Because if you don't have the schwa there, it means I'll be saying spoken, spoken, and that's what I'm saying. Spoken. Table, table. I didn't say table. I said table. So between b and l, the schwa sound is there. Government, government. So in government, you have the schwa sound between v and n, and also between m and n. So government. Season, season. Same there, the O is being represented by the schwa sound. So the first syllable in season is stressed. Now, when words end with R, especially when they have more than one syllable, right? They would have the schwa sound. ER, AR, OR, OUR, URE, and UR are examples of word endings that would mean that would replace the schwa sound, or that could be represented by the schwa sound. So back to this. Banana, miracle, special, jealous, lotion, thorough, fuel, abandon, and razor. Which of them has the schwa sound? Banana has the schwa sound for the first A and the schwa sound for the third or the last A. In fact, only the second syllable is stressed. So you have banana, banana, So the first and the last A's are unstressed and they have the schwa sound. Miracle, miracle. Only me is stressed. And the last two syllables are unstressed. And they even have, both of them have the schwa sound. Special. Well, by now you're guessing. Special. Mm-mm. The spe is stressed. And I didn't say special. I said show. Oh. So IA represents the schwa sound. So show has the schwa sound. Jealous. Jealous. By now you can guess, oh, it is less. Less. Less has the schwa sound with OU representing it. I mean the second syllable. Lotion. Lotion. Mm-mm. So you have low being stressed and shun, not stressed, and it's taking the n. So IO is representing the schwa sound. Thorough. Thorough. In this word, you have the whole of OUGH representing the schwa sound. If you've noticed, letter A can represent the schwa sound, E can represent it, IA can represent it, OU can represent it, IO can represent it. Now, OUGH, the whole of OUGH. So that means any vowel sound and any letter combination with a vowel sound can most likely be represented by the schwa sound. Feel. This word has two syllables. You have the feel and the The letter E is representing the schwa sound here. Then abandon. The first A and the O are representing the schwa sound. Then finally, razor. Razor. OR is representing the schwa sound here. So, like I said, I took you back. Now, here are words that have the schwa sound in them. Remember, I mentioned that word endings with R will usually have the schwa sound, especially when the word has more than two syllables or more than one syllable. And then it ends with a word ending like ER, AR, URE, OUR, or OR. So we have ER in maker, waster, picker, weather, faster, manager. We have AR in grammar, muscular, polar, dollar, radar, pillar. URE in lecture, puncture, failure, measure, feature. OUR in favor, honor. Remember the H in honor is silent. Labor, behavior, vapor. Now for American English, you wouldn't have OUR, rather you just have OR. Then you have OR in sailor, major, governor, investor, liquor, and author. Now, we have come to the end of this course. You've learned 5 main things in this course. You've learned reasons people mispronounce English words. You've learned how to work on your pronunciation and get better with your pronunciation. We had a focus on the TH in words. We learned silent letters, and finally we are on the schwa sound. Now, for you to make the most, get the best out of this course, I would advise that you listen to this course after now at least once a week for the next 3 months. And the idea is that it helps you reinforce what you are learning. That would be 12 times in 3 months. You could do more, right? Then, soon enough, you'd find yourself saying some of those words correctly without even trying to say them, like consciously trying to say them. And better still, you could pick 10 words that you'd like to learn or master the pronunciation, and you do so per week. Every week, use 10 of those words every single week. Ensure that you add them into conversations when you're speaking. And you might even have the reason to send voice notes, especially to your friends, right? Or to those who are close enough to you. Now, remember the last thing that I spoke about on you working your way up the pronunciation ladder. It's that you need to be patient with yourself. So when you make mistakes, see that as a form of feedback. When you know that you're making a mistake with the pronunciation of a word, it means you now know that there is a correct way of saying this word. And that is a form of feedback. It means you are learning. It means you're getting better and that you can do better. And that is where we'll end this for English pronunciation essentials. And yes, I'd like to get your feedback. You can reach out to me via Facebook. My name is Abimbola Oshodi, without the H, Abimbola Oshodi. And I'd love to hear how this has been of help to you. Just let me know. Hi, Abimbola. I took your course, English Pronunciation Essentials, and this is how it has been helpful to me. I would really love to hear from you and know how you are faring. Remember to keep speaking like you mean it. That's how I love to end my podcast. And yes, you can find my podcast on Eloquence with Abimbola across the podcast hosting platforms.